Order of Light presents a new era of contact, UFO sightings and strange anomalies, secret space programs and off-world adventures, advanced technologies and new discoveries, extraterrestrial abductions and contactees. Now is the time to speak. As we explore the unknown, the uncertain, and unseen, we are the disclosure, and these are those stories.
Hello, welcome back to the channel, all of you wonderful beings of light out there. Today we have a very special guest, my good friend Sandra McEllis, coming from Washington, D.C. What she does is she teaches the creative arts, and she does it so in a way that helps people connect to their consciousness. She is a jack of all trades. She's done a lot of amazing things throughout her life. And it's such a pleasure to have her here. Sandra and I, we were just talking behind the scenes, and her wisdom and knowledge has completely blown me away. And I used to live in Gettysburg, and it turns out that that's where she's from, and we're familiar with all the same things. So it's really, really cool. It's amazing how the universe brings people in front of us, and as long as we focus on the here and now, we won't miss out on the opportunity to connect with people that we need to connect to. So with no further ado, Sandra, hello, welcome to the show. Just want to thank you for all the amazing work you are doing and your servitude for humanity and those around you. Welcome to the show. And could you start off with telling everyone that's watching this right now a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, thank you, Robert, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So let's see a little bit about me. I don't know how to condense that into a nutshell. I would probably say, I'm the second to 5 children. I came in and around 4 years old, really had an epiphany of awakening up through a head trauma and overnight in the hospital kind of thing. And ever since then, everything was acutely different for me. I became more of the observer. I learned how to dialogue with energy through watching people and their sensories, and it would filter through and I would get information about them. And, kind of as I grew up, I don't hear voices of spirit guides, or I didn't see them when I was young, but I would get downloads of thoughts and I wouldn't even know what that was. I would just get a thought. For example, my mom would be reading the Bible and I would hear, I didn't say that. That's not my name. That didn't happen. And I would question things when I was old enough to understand a little bit about Mary Magdalene in the 60s. She was considered a prostitute. When I was old enough to understand what is a prostitute, and my mother told me, in my mind's eye, I'm like, huh? So one woman traveled with 12 men and she was this? So it didn't make sense. So everything had to be realistic to me in those time zones. And another thing through my awakening is I was able to, and still am able to, kind of go into situations in a 3D kind of way. Someone could be describing something and then I'm there and it's like I'm watching it and I'm seeing it unfold and I can see and hear information about it. I'm also able to do that in my healing work as well when I'm working with clients, whether I have hands-on, where I'm kinesthetically getting information through my body about them and a situation. I'll get video movies about it, and then I have to use my own vocabulary, which is very limited in the English version of at least what I've learned. So I have to explain things through feeling and words that I get. And then I can dialogue with clients. And I do this in my everyday life just through conversation. And much of the information I get, I'm just told it's just information for you to know. And you don't need to blast it out there that you know everything, because I'm not in this for an egoic notoriety of Sandy knows everything. Because if I turn around and really say something, I probably don't know anything on the Richter scale of knowledge. I've had encounters with other beings through my dream states, and in my experiences, some of which look very human, some of which look very sci-fi, some of which look scary enough to scare the bejesus out of you. And if you were going to go back and revisit, you might want to wear a diaper. It can be a little freaking freaky
It's
when
true.
you're out there surfing. I'm just telling you, it is very true, Robert. And so here I am, all grown up, so supposedly in age and decades maybe, but here I'm a kid at heart. I like to play and learn through play, which is why I love working with kids and teens and adults and pregnant moms. And you have it, whoever needs it, the beacon comes out, we get connected through universal energetics, and we go from there. So I don't know if that's a nutshell version of my insane life, but
it's hard when you've had a life like that. It's so hard to paraphrase it all. But one thing I do want to touch back on before we go, I want to go more in depth with some of these beings and things you were seeing and etc. But more importantly, you said you had a head trauma, and I would like to know what happened, because there has been a common reoccurrence. Some of the greatest minds throughout all history has had head trauma. They fall, they got hit in the head with a rock, they fell down steps. They all had head trauma. When I was a little kid, I was dropped on my head as a baby. Okay, so there's something going on about us bumping our heads and then coming out of it, because from what I heard of you sharing after that experience is when all this stuff kind of started coming to you. Did I understand that correctly?
You did, Robert. I can go back when people will say, when did this begin for you? And I can say I was 4 years old. I fell out of my bunk bed. I had a concussion. My mom took me to the hospital. Everyone disappeared. I stayed in this bed in the observatory window where people were making faces at me. The nurse was really mean. I remember my father coming in the next day and dressing me and talking to the nurse. And I remember looking up, listening to them talking as if I was invisible, walking down the hall. I remember feeling nauseous in the elevator. I remember seeing alligators under my bed after that, but it always contributed from that moment on. It was like everything was in technicolor. I could see things and feel things very differently. Now, the interesting thing about you asking me about this is this subject came back up for me again recently. So I contacted my mother and I wanted to know more about me falling out of my bunk bed, hitting my head on a radiator, winding up at the hospital, etc. And do you know that she remembers me falling out of my bed?
But you never went to the hospital.
Correct. And there was never radiators in this house.
I
And
swear.
this just occurred. Listen to me. The weird thing is, this all just came up Monday. And I text my mom. My mom calls me Tuesday night. She's, yeah, you fell out of your bed. And yeah, that was it. I said, no, Mom, I went to the hospital. And she says, what? Now, my mom remembers everything, because she remembers when I fell out of a car, which was a few months later, and wound up in the middle of a street and never got run over. She remembers everything else. But she said, Sandy, why would I leave you in the hospital alone? And now my sister would be 5, I would be 4, my twin sisters would be 2, my brother would be 1. And she said, how did the neighbor take us to the hospital? Where were the 3 babies? Like there was no seatbelts in the car, so they weren't in the back seat. I remember my sister talking to me from the back seat. And so last night I had this huge epiphany. When I went to the bathroom, something said, that did not happen on the 3D Earth.
Yes, absolutely correct. And
I'm still kind of reeling from it right now. So for you to ask me that question,
well,
there's some correlation why this came about before we're on the show.
No, I have to make this statement. You and I, we were just talking behind stage. I've never heard this story from you. We absolutely
I've
were
never really
not
told
talking
it.
about this. And as you were going over that experience, you saw me put my head down. I had information coming to me, and that doctor was a gray. That wasn't your family. That was other people looking at the science project. The thing you saw under the bed, all of that. My mom went through screen memories all the time, and they were very, very similar. These, what they call these screened memories of something else. And as you were telling it, I'm like, there's no way her parents could. I saw like what it actually was. That don't happen. I don't pick up on things that often, but I just knew it was coming right off the bat. My head is blown right now. This Monday you brought it up. This Monday.
Yes, and then I had my conversation with my mother on Tuesday, and then today's Thursday. So Wednesday night, in the evening, I had just had a Rolfing session. So I had an elongated session, body work. And afterwards, I had this huge thing that was like, poof, this didn't happen on the 3D earth, but this memory is in me, as every detail of it I remember like
Wow.
like it was yesterday. And that's where I got my start of all of where I am today and how I can read information. And so when that epiphany came to me last night about it not happening, I thought, okay, I don't need to get caught up in the 3D world, sifting through what memories did and didn't happen, what glass floor I was on, because dimensions are glass floors. And I've had conversation with guides, a Lyran guide recently on the glass floor above me, working with me. So if you think of this as a glass floor and this is me and they're up here, they're walking together with me through this and guiding me almost like they have a magnet, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so, so I was told this morning not to get too caught up in freak out, to just be like, okay, what is this teaching me? And let me tell you, when we talked about this before screen too, we get caught up in so much stuff that we miss out on the moment and what provides us the experience in this moment. Spirit will bring to you the information that you need when you need to know it. There is no reason to keep hitting the repeat button and trying to figure out something universally from another dimension, density, whatever you want to call it, from another realm is the best way to say it, and try to make sense of it with your 3D logical mind.
It
Because
won't work.
we're done with the 3D logical mind brain. That contract is up. We are now getting into how to decipher energy through the heart and other sensories. So this will mess you up every time and create distraction after distraction after distraction until you're just cycloning out of control.
Yeah. And so, wow, I'm blown away.
Well, you picked
Sometimes
up on the
this
right energy,
happens.
that's for sure.
But so I guess the question does become, without trying, it is what it is kind of a situation. But one thing you can confirm through your mother is you did fall out of your bunk bed. That actually happened
Yes, she
physically
said she
within
heard
this
a
thing.
kerplunk in the middle of the night. She remembers me falling out. She remembers moving me to the bottom bunk. I thought it was like a whole day later. She remembers nothing about it, but she remembers details about everything else around that year.
And this is why I bring that up. So that's what we know on this plane happened and that she remembers. The question is, was you falling coming back from this experience, and or was you falling what sparked this experience? I don't know, but it's a question to think about. What if that was dropping her off? Oops, off to the side. Why did you fall out of your bed? You don't remember that, do you?
No, and I never fell out of it before.
Right? We don't have, and that's why it's better, like you said, just
Well, if they
focus
were
on
bringing
here
me,
and now.
I can see it now. Them bringing me back, and it's like boom. It's like oops, oops,
We're out.
oops.
Oops. Or was it the fall? And maybe with that hit, it brought to life past memories. In this experience, were you around the same age as you recall the bunk bed, or did
Yes.
you not see your body?
No, I was the same age. I saw my body.
Okay,
I was in my
so
body having the experience. I saw the faces of the people looking through the window, which I now know is an observatory window. I could describe the room. I could describe the nurse that yanked
did
me
you
out of
have
bed.
pain? Was there pain? Any feeling?
No.
But you're in a hospital and there was no
Yes.
pain?
No. It was all about observing. So whatever occurred there, they allowed me to keep that memory for what some reason, details of the memory. Because outside of my observatory window is a hallway, and these medical personnel would walk back and forth, or what I thought was medical personnel. There was also an observatory window on the other side where people were looking in that window.
Observing, as you
Yeah,
said.
observing. So I don't know.
And you
Looking glass
were
technology, who knows?
observing, they're observing, a lot of observations going on. Um, wow, just
But I contribute that experience to my own development of energetic translations through other sensories,
wow.
of watching people interact or talk or listening to a situation, or know, I just would know stuff.
The thoughts, as you said, you didn't hear a voice telling. That's how it works with me. That's why
Mm-mm.
no one on this channel has ever heard me saying, well, this being is giving me this
No.
information. I'm not doing that. Everything I've said, it's coming from me, but it's the thought that is like implanted, and it just kind of comes out. And okay, let's roll with it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
call that my higher self and my guide team, because I've
yeah.
never channeled another being. I've had I've had Yeshua come in and say a couple things to me, off and on throughout many decades. But I just get this thought. And I know it was him because they would show me a little picture of what looked familiar, and I could sense the energy, and I just knew. You can't comprehend any of this with your 3D brain. It's not possible. And
Mhm.
that's why many people are out here surfing and toddling social media, listening to all of this stuff and what everyone's saying, and they're trying to process it through here. And when they can't, then they jump to judgment. Oh, that person's full of crap, or that didn't happen, or how's that happening, or oh, they're so special that happened to them. I must not be special. So
Mm.
it really, it's very confusing if you're looking at it from a just your 3D body brain compartments,
Yeah,
because it's so much more than that.
my ancestors worked that way. I'm in great communication, and to piggyback off of that, listen to your ancestors. Don't
Yes.
listen to others. Not just your earthly ancestors, your galactic and dimensional glass floor ancestors as well. And they're there. They're all within your DNA, and all of those memories, all of billions of years, it's all written down in your DNA. And the thing that connects us with everything else, well, that's our soul, that source, that light found within all of us. And between the genetic DNA and the light and source energy of everything that connects everything in existence, you have everything you need right in you to figure it out. It's all written
Absolutely.
down.
Absolutely.
Wow.
The entire software system is within you, and the old programming is what trained you to look outside of you. Oh, if you didn't read it in a book, or if somebody wasn't, credible enough, if they had enough credentials, you should listen to them. And you've just been force fed all this information and the criterias and the branding and all of that. And it's been a hijacking of your own God source self. And we're here now in this form to recognize that. You can call it an awakening if you want, but just to recognize it, switch gears and start putting the heart and the soul in the driver's seat, and letting this information that you've been force fed over here. You're not calling anyone a liar. Everyone just kind of fell into sync, but we're here now to say this doesn't serve me. This makes no sense at all. That's not where I'm vibration. My residency is at this moment. I'm in search of something else. And it's deeper that words can't explain. A dictionary can't explain. A limited language cannot explain.
So true. And that's why I have something I always used to call my personal prayer language, or some people call it language, light language, tongues, whatever people want to call it. But the reason and I do it privately, it's how I connect. And the reason I use that, because this English language, the words just aren't there. And, when we speak from that, we're not using the part of our brain that controls speech. The pastor of my church that I went to Bible college to, that the Freedom Valley Worship Center, years ago, back in like 2007, Dateline NBC came out there and they took my classmates and my pastor and they hooked a bunch of electrodes up to their head and they asked them to, speak in fake tongues, to make random noises, to talk, to do Yiddish and gibberish. And they did, and the electrodes were hooked to their heads and they were going off. Even when they were just blah, 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 it was going off. And then he meditated, he stopped, and he went into his spiritual prayer language. And nothing in that part of the brain was going off. This was scientifically documented on Easter weekend at that. And I was so fortunate to be there and learn, like, oh snap. I was like, whoa, but that's when I learned that our words can't possibly describe what our soul feels, right?
It's impossible.
Oh,
It's very difficult to describe a feeling because we've been taught through words how we're supposed to describe it. And that's one of the biggest things between the relationships between other people, is you can't truly express how you feel because you can't put it in this little teeny cup and say, here, this is it. Just always know that you can't. And we're expanding on that because we're in the time now to anchor in the heart and to bypass the mental, egoic, logical brain. Now, they're going to always work hand in hand because we're human, right? But we're learning now to start to trust and to communicate through the heart center more. And sometimes that creates pain because it can't be explained. And so it may trigger somebody else's issues because they don't understand it. So they want to throw shade and daggers back on you, which is why I told you I had to do the series on in-house fighting. We're all here with different messages in different ways. It's like all the learning styles we have. My gosh, it's growing and growing and growing and growing, the different learning styles we have, right? Whereas, 20, 30 years ago, you were put in a room and you were either in this category or you are down the hall in another category you didn't want to be in, right? Because that was going to be painful enough. So you're always graded and teased, but we're here to just speak from the heart and just be fully present and let other people speak. If they're not doing harm, our judgment and our opinions can create harm for the other person and their experience of expression by having judgments and opinions. And even if we have them in here and they haven't come out here, they energetically come out. So we have to learn how to step back and then just listen from the heart and let that person just express whether you understand it on a level or not, and don't throw shade and condemn them because you don't understand it. And we're all here to waken up with different tools and different vibrations. So someone can listen to me and be like, holy smokes, I'm wow. Same with you. Wow. They may turn to someone else and go, oh no, I can't, right? But who are we to say? Who are we to say the galactic movement is terrible? Hey, people are programmed to awaken through that movement. Mind your business, stay in your lane. Some people through through biblical or religious, mystical, esoteric, whatever that is, let them go there. That's where their vibrational frequency is to open up. Maybe it's through storytelling. Maybe it's through exploratory, architectural, traveling the world path of this or that. It's not your business to solicit or be the converter of anyone else. Stay in your lane, mind your business, and just let people do their thing as long as they're not doing harm and hurting someone else. Then we need to be able to raise our light and ask for assistance. How do we change this dynamic? Not to stop with the pain they may be inflicting on someone else. And again, if you keep yourself in a column of light, your God source, your spiritual self, your higher self is going to teach you everything from your inner software out. And you're going to stop pulling from all these outside resources. I know for me in 2017, I decided to repeat a couple. I'm certified in a whole lot of different Reikis. And I thought, you know what? I have some time. I'm going to go back and retake a course from another teacher just to see what I can learn from it. And I was on the way to one of my classes, and something just said, empty out every single thing you've been taught to this moment. Everything. Every single thing you've been taught, throw it out, cast it out, be done with it. If it comes back to you, look at it from this different angle and decide, does this hold any value to where you are in this moment? And so I did that, and I got to my class, and I happened to tell my teacher, and she said, so what does this do for you? I go, well, it certainly takes up a lot of space, and it's going to give me more space. I'm not carrying around all these other teachings of what my parents and their parents and what I learned in this school and that school through this experience. I'm letting it all go. And I'm asking for my body to come into a space where I've wiped off the whiteboard. And it's like, I'm going to choose what I put in that whiteboard metaphor for me. I'm going to choose to be taught differently with what the teaching and instructional messages that I can receive, that I can share that with others, because perhaps they're wanting to learn differently and be instructed differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
your team helped you delete, the indoctrination.
Well, then I became one with my higher self through
Yeah.
a next vision thing that I did. And we've walked together ever since in a much stronger, grounded, anchored body.
Mm-hmm.
And just to know that you don't have to have all these experiences that you're hearing about everyone else have. You are the light that you are, and the strength of your light, if you can stay in that space of love, anchors all the way down to the core of Mother Earth and all the way up to Father Sky, and all the debris on it, all the crust on it will fall to the wayside. And you will know that this is all you need. This is all you need, that you are enough in the God spark life that you are in this life, living each moment. And once you can accept that, then you can feel the own self-love. And so when you put information out like I do on impromptu whims, when they say go to the camera and do this, I don't rehearse it, I don't listen to it. I put it out in hopes that it goes where they have asked for it to go, right? People are going to throw something back. I don't accept it because it's not in my heart space to accept it. If you don't agree with it, just stay in your lane. Because down the road, you may understand it. And then you're going to say, oh my gosh, I understand better now. But you didn't have to be so hateful in that moment about it, right? Because if I was a really...
Tolerance.
Yes, and it's patience, it's tolerance, and it's staying in that love zone, which again, like I said, can leave people in a very vulnerable position because they're expressing from a place that there might not be some tangible materials to share because it's based on an experience.
What a powerful message. And after what you just said, it's like, oh, sorry, everyone, the show's ending. There's nothing else to be. She said it all. But absolutely what you were saying about like within us, and everything we have. And what happened to tolerance? It shouldn't matter what someone believes, regardless of what it is, religious, their ideas, as long as they're not hurting people and they worship some spaghetti monster flying around the sky, but they're going around and they're showing love and they are helping other human beings on this planet. We should give them some tolerance. And it seems like that's just been kind of just thrown out the window in a sense. And I got news for everyone. If human beings cannot learn tolerance and acceptance of other human beings, big news for all of you. There will be no way in the universe that you could ever possibly understand what some of these other beings believe in, what they worship, is beyond your wildest imagination. So, we got to learn tolerance and acceptance for one another. If you don't resonate with something, that's okay. That's a part of your spiritual journey. We all go through it. We all resonate with something, and then we have a new life experience. Then we resonate with something else. It's a learning process, and growth is uncomfortable. True growth isn't something that feels good. It's a trial, a tribulation to help strengthen us. So growth, tolerance, and acceptance for all, as long as they're within the bounds of humanity and they are not causing deliberate harm and injustices to other people. You know, just tolerance. You don't have to add your 2 cents. You don't have to add your little comment. You don't have to do a thumbs down, a thumbs up, or a mean face emoji. Just let it go and focus within yourself. It's that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and
Amazing.
the more that you step into the heart center, your vibration has no choice but to rise. And when it rises, it's not that you need to snub your nose at anyone else who's not where you are,
Hmm.
but you'll be able to start seeing through those who are out there doing the infomercials. You'll be able to see through so much of it, but you don't need to get in there and get in the mud with them. You just be like, "Oh, thank you for letting me recognize that. That's something I don't want to put in any of my mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, etheric bodies today. My energies. I've filled my tank. You know, I've given myself spiritual nutrition. I'm working on my spiritual athletic self, and I this is just gonna like just drag me down. So once you step into that heart space and you get yourself, you can't help but rise in a vibratory way that is just so amazing. And then to be able to learn to hone in and skill that and be in that more than just 5 minutes or more than just 10 minutes. And it's really tapping into the feeling, which is why people will talk about the importance of getting into prayer, meditation, quiet space, nature, drawing, get back into the inner self, what imaginary things. And I call the imagination the God space, because that's where the real world begins to happen. And you can create it the way you would like to manifest it in your physical 3D if you're matching all your vibrations through the heart space, not through the mental monkey mind.
Hmm. Wow. And with that being said, and I'm sure you've had so many different experiences, but you just brought it up, this creative art process. And to that end, what kind of work do you do within that? And how does it work? And how does making a painting or singing a song or, planting a garden, how does this help people in any shape or form or way connect to their consciousness? uh, what's the big secret behind all of it? How does it work?
Well, the funny thing is, if you just look at it from a scientific point of view, your right brain is where all your creativity is, right? But we're taught to stay on the left logical side mostly. And that if you stay too much on the right side, you'll never make a living.
Hmm.
I mean, that's a program. So if you want to call lighting up the right brain by being in the heart, it's just being able to express through feelings and creativity without having to grade anything and being judged for that. And so in the work that I do, it's really helping people to step out of the driver's seat of that mental driven self and stepping into working with your soul's mission. So you've been taught what to do on your physical mission. Got to go to school. You got to have this, got to have that. At this age, you better do that. You better get this education. And then you better rank up here because then you're going to need the money to do this. And then you're going to get a partner and then perhaps procreate or perhaps this, perhaps that. And, and then at 65 and at 65, you're going to get this. So you're given all these chasing the carrot, right? But that's a program everyone else gives you. And when you really can step away from that by recognizing this isn't serving me. This isn't serving. I'm yearning for so much more because, as I said, the heart center is opening up for everybody. And you got to figure out what to do with it before you shut it down. Okay. Mm-hmm. Shutting it down is going to be painful because you can't close that door. It's going to keep opening and opening and opening. Right. And so before you have this confusion between all of this, you're going to have to open up your expression zone, your fish chakra, and get everything flowing. So then you take a look at what are the missions and the paths that my soul came here to do, that my spirit is the guiding force of my physical avatar. And how can I combine all that and still work with a little bit of this because I am a 3D physical flesh and blood walking on solid ground. But how can I live in this space? So there's so many things that are stored up in here that don't serve you anymore. Memories, experiences, good, bad, or indifferent. We don't have to label them, that are affecting your now. And they could be sabotaging this opening up of the heart center. So the kind of work I do is basically saying, let's get in here. Let's get you into a relaxed state. Let's ask our guides to bring forth memories that are important to you now. And then intuitively, I'm trained to be right there in that journey with you. And I'm told where to what to say in there or not to say anything, because it's your journey to empower you to find your motor, turn it on, find the keys to all of that, and expand and move away from the old programming. So in a nutshell, that's kind of one of the things that I do within my practice. And then what you'll find is you're in this lighter vibration. And next thing you know, you're going to see things peripherally. Your dream state's going to be different because you cleaned out all this stuff. You're going to find some treasures in there. It isn't all junk. There's certain lifetimes, and it could be when you were 5, you were 10, you were 20. It could be another lifetime. It doesn't matter what your belief system is on that. It's just going to bring up a memory of a feeling, an emotion that's stored that needs to be dealt with now so that you can just really blossom into the soul spiritual experiencer through these lessons. There's no right or wrong because everything's a lesson. But we're taught to kick our own ass all the time. Damn it, what'd I do that for? I'm so this, I'm so that. So we start calling ourselves names. Now, if someone else was to call us a name, we may have to duke it out, right? But yet we're our first and our worst critic. Yeah. So when we get into the heart, we look at, hey, I want to experience things differently. And thank you for letting me stop, drop, sit, connect with my breath, clear off the whiteboard, and decide what stays and what goes. And we're in the center. Not only is the heart opening, but contracts are up. Relationships are up, or the dynamics of current ones mostly, jobs, so many things, they're up. So before you have to get hit in the head, or perhaps I was supposed to land next to my bunk bed. I'm not sure. I don't know that was an accident, but it certainly shaped and changed my life. And we can help you shift and change your life so that you feel more in your God self, in your divinity of who you are. And the purpose is because there's multiple ones and you get choices. It's like driving a car and you hit a dead end. Do you just sit there? No, you don't. You 3-point turn, you back up, you turn around. You know, if you're in a relationship, it's not necessarily till death do you part. That means death do you part of your own relationship with things like that. You're able to look at things as, I'm growing, vibrations are changing. This food doesn't serve me. These clothing doesn't fit me anymore. I don't like it. Maybe my demographics don't work. Maybe my group of friends, ooh, I got to change those up. It all starts with you. The me, myself, and I, of you in the universe, you.
I am.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I am.
And
And it gets kept simple, and it has to be realistic. It doesn't need to be goals that you're going to burn out in 1 week and say, oh, F this. I can't do it. It's too tough. You set daily goals that are achievable for you, and you don't even have to use the word goal. What's my lesson that I want to feel at the end of the day? And then how do I balance my accounts, my emotional account, my physical account, my mental account? How do I balance them so at the end of the day, I don't feel like I was enslaved to what everybody else tells me I'm supposed to be and do?
wow, and that's amazing. And I remember when I was in college, we learned a technique called wearing a mask, and not in a negative way, but in the sense that for example, I want to be a better person. And that's a lot easier to just say that than it is to do the step by step process. And we were told, put on the mask, even if you don't feel happy, even though you may hurt or have anger, put on that mask and keep telling yourself you're happy every single day. Keep wearing it. And then eventually the mask becomes who you are. And you just got to keep
Mm,
working at it and chipping at it day after day after day, even when you're not feeling it. You know how hard it is in today's world to be all love and light? It's not easy, but that's why we just got to put it on. And when I say put on a mask, I'm not implying don't be you.
yeah.
It's okay to feel sad. It's all right to have anger. But what do you do with those emotions? When you get angry, do you transmute that into something positive, or do you transmute that into doing harm against others? Emotions are okay, but they're tools, and what we choose to do with those emotions plays a huge factor. And I do have one question for you, Sandra. I really want to ask for all the subscribers, everyone that's watching this right now. You've been doing the creative arts and many other things as well. Are there any suggestions or something that has really worked for you, such as music, painting, planting a garden? What are some of the ones that, with all the people you've worked with, which ones have been the things that were the easiest for them to do? So, for example, if after this video people want to go ahead and do this, they can get it done within that week. What are some of the most common and the most effective creative arts that you've seen individuals going through that really help them connect to their consciousness?
Well, laughter is the biggest one. It recalibrates everything. Just laugh at your ridiculousness. Just laugh at it and start your day with a place of gratitude, and then really diligently place that into how you walk from the bed to the bathroom, how you're preparing yourself that morning, how you're preparing your food for yourself and blessing it. So you're placing yourself automatically into a place of heart centeredness. The other thing I want to also be able to say is when you're doing that, go back to when you were a child and what worked for you and what didn't work for you. Most people that are listening to this are going to be adults, and we do a lot of uneffing ourselves, and it's a lot of work. It's not easy. And it's one of the reasons why I love working with kids and their parents is to start like, can we just stop the madness right now before we create another one that has to get to this age to go back and go backwards again in order to stay in the present moment. Kids are resilient, yes, but your subconscious is a 24/7 surveillance camera of everything, not just what you see, sense, feel, and smell, but it records everything into your DNA. So with that being said, you've also come in with recorded DNA. So you can say, okay, today, this is the lesson that I've noticed that's tripping me up. And so I want to be really aware of this lesson, whatever it may be. And I want to dialogue differently with this particular lesson. And I'm just going to douse it with love. And I'm going to be quiet with it. I don't need a lot of logical explanation for it. And at the end of the day, I'm just going to take a look and say, hey, how do I feel right now? And how did I do with that one particular lesson? Whether it was, I'm going to be more conscientious of what I put in my face today. That's the people that are in my face. That's the food I put in my face. That's what I watch in my face. So there's a broad spectrum there, right? It's a metaphor for everything. I am going to ask myself, my higher self, my wisdom, my big sister, my big brother, the wisdom, God self of me. I'm going to dialogue and say, hey, I'm going to turn this on. If it's not for me to listen to right now, give me a signal.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a signal. If this food isn't for me, just give me a signal. You can choose to override it because that's what we've been living on. We've been living on override, not even realizing we've been overriding everything through these programs. And you also can't look at everything as what has everyone done to me to program me. That would take up a lot of energy. You have to say, you know what? I'm aware of some stuff. I don't need to get to the root of it. It's not serving me. I'm aware of it. What I want to do is get to a place of homeostasis and happiness in this very moment. And so these are lessons that we can work with ourselves all day and play with it and laugh at yourself. At the end of the day, you're like, oh crap, I lost that connection at 10 a.m. this morning. Oh my God. I fell into, but here I am. Okay. I'm aware of that. I'm not going to kick my own butt. That's funny how quick I ran out of that fuel and that intention. Tomorrow I'm going to start again, or I'm going to start tonight before I go to bed and set myself up for tomorrow.
That's it. And you brought up a great point. And because of all that, that's where the creativity comes in. It's all those things that are attached in us and what's working through us. And sometimes, as you said, the subconscious is always recording, always on multiple levels. And there may be things in there, positive and negative. And creativity is a way to transmute this out, to get it, to clear up space, as you are saying, to clear it up, to just get it out there. I know there's been times sometimes when I really get upset, I'll just write a very stern letter and I'll just write it to myself in my notepad. And then I just delete it all. I feel fine and I completely forgot everything I just wrote down. It's like it just whoop right out of there.
Well, because everything has an energetic frequency. Everything has an energetic frequency, and you can look at it as good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you want to be connected to the frequencies that help you feel good, because when you feel good, you want to be of service. You want to help. You want things organized. You know, how great do we feel when we declutter a closet? There's an energetic connection between all that. But that's the same thing that goes with jobs and friends and relationships. And then we don't need to be the dictator because things flow. So when you're dictating, you're trying to control. And then you only want to surround yourself with people of that vibe. I was saying to someone the other day, if I had to interview a practitioner on their personal, religious, spiritual, and political belief systems, I would have no practitioner. I would have no friends. Why can't I just accept you for where you are on the vibe of where you are and just be on the hello, how are you? I care about you. And I don't want you to choke on your food or get run over by a car. I want you to be healthy and happy. You know what I mean? Even if you've pissed me off, I still don't want to wish that on you because that's doing harm.
Mm-hmm.
Because it starts with our thoughts and then our feelings. And then those things can gain steam. So we want to learn to be in the present moment and to just stop, drop, sit, connect with our breath, allow ourselves to expand. And when you get into the heart center, people, I'm going to tell you, you will get to know yourself so much better. And at first, you may have a lot of mixed feelings about that self. And you're going to have to work through that guilt and all those things that are going to be in that, encompassed in that. But when you get past that and you're really in the habit of working with your higher heart self, you're going to see the world in different colors. You're going to see the orbs. You're going to see the sparkles. You're going to feel the information. You're going to start getting it in sensories that you designed to get it in. Some people will hear a voice. Some people will sense a feeling. Some people will get a download of a thought. It doesn't matter. Don't get caught up on how someone else is getting it. Figure out where is it that your unique communication is. And it only happens when you're in that higher heart self. So I just look forward to more and more and more and more people just becoming aware, because I'm getting tired of hearing the word awaken, that you just become aware that there's so much more than just you in this 3D physical body, growing up, working a job, doing this, and that, and then exiting.
Mm-hmm. The famous old saying, pay taxes and die, right?
Yes.
The
two guarantees.
And what a powerful message overall. And I really ask everyone that's watching this, maybe we all be able to come together and realize this conclusion of information, and that we'll just be able to tap into it and really just focus on working on ourselves and being what all of you that are watching right now, all of you are here to do great things for one another. That's all of our mission. Every being on this planet is to help usher in harmony and helping one another. So, with that being said, and I do want to go back because your experience earlier, I'm not going to lie, I'm still thinking about it. You said so many other amazing things, and I could talk about hours about them. I just keep going back to that first experience, and as I'm thinking about it, I just keep getting more questions. I love questions. Aren't they wonderful? Questions are more powerful than answers every time. So my question, Sandra, you had that experience. Since then, have you had anything else like it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of experiences, and I used to just chalk them up to my dream state or in a meditative state. So I have been like floating in space on a little platform, and I docked onto a really big rock, and I got off, and then there was like a glass rock sitting there like a bed, and I went and I laid on it, and three beings came and they're working on me, and I felt like I was wide awake while this was occurring, and
Lucid.
I'm just being quiet and allowing it to happen. And then all of a sudden I saw my oldest daughter underneath me, and then my next child underneath me. And I knew in an instant that they were working on me for the lineages that have come through me. So there was to break and cut any other ties. And then, I've had multitudes of experiences that I could spend hours talking about.
Have you seen you can continue, but also I want to add on there. Have you seen anything physically?
Yes.
A ghost encounter, a UFO, something like that?
So I don't ever, anything's an unidentified object when you can't describe it in my language, right? So everything's a UO, and occasionally it's flying or floating or something. So yeah, I have been able to connect with my sight a number of years ago in the physical aspect where I can see things in the daylight. And so I can focus in like on a wall or the sky, and I will see beings working. They're animals, they're humans, they look galactic like, or what you would, a picture of one where you go, oh, that looks like an alien. I can see them working. And so really what I called it was my sky screen. So sometimes I could sit outside for hours and just watch the sky screen. And I had to stop asking questions and demanding answers through my brain, and I would get frustrated and say, okay, I've seen this now for 3 months. I don't know what you're doing. I'm done with you. And I just get up and walk away. And then I would get the message, can you just watch and just let us show you that we're just here? How about that? And I'd be like, okay. And then I have tons of orbs that love to come. And if I'm not paying attention to them, they'll give me this bright, quick spark. It could be purple, it could be pink, it could be blue, it could be golden, whatever it is. And I'll be like, hey, how you doing? And then they'll just come right to me and hang out. And I remember when they first started coming to me, I started playing with them in the dark. in my living room. I would turn everything off and no one was home. And I just started reaching up and touching them, and I would watch my whole arm disappear, and the sparks and the beings, they would just walk across me like this. And after doing this for a couple months, I realized that my sliding glass door was open and people could look in.
Oh no.
And I thought, and I'm on a rocking chair. So I'm thinking to myself, they're like, oh, she needs medication, or I
She's
want what
off
she
her
has.
rocker.
I want what she has, and she's off her rocker. And you know what? I know it to be so real and so tangible that what anybody thought of me didn't matter. I was playing with beings that just brought me so much joy. I can go to a meditative space and I can semi open and close my eyes and I can look at the ground. And within a matter of minutes, things wave differently. It's like a film comes over my eyes. Beings will come up from the ground and they're just showing themselves to me. They'll move. The faces on the trees, the leaves, the grass are something out of a movie. And it's amazing. And it's just, I can't tell you how much fun it is. And I can see why people want to do altered states of consciousness through maybe some substance. Spirit has told me years ago, I am not to use anything. I am to learn it myself, even though it's difficult and I get impatient and well, they said they took a trip and they saw that. Let me take that trip. They've been very clear to me and that I am not to do that. I am to learn it myself so then I can teach others how to do it within themselves. And again, it boils down to the vibration of your higher heart and living in that space.
I agree with you. And when it comes to psychedelics, I'm absolutely afraid because of what I see completely in this mindset. No, thank you. I'm good. I see enough as is. And one thing that's amazing. And in relation to you falling and hitting your head, at what age did you start to see these orbs?
So the physical sight really began around 2019.
Oh, not that long ago.
No, I had a lot here. I could put my hands on someone and get a whole movie picture.
Okay.
Now, in the 90s, as a massage therapist, I had no energy training at the time. I could be in a room and beings would come in. And for the longest time, I could just watch them. They never scared me. And some would look like humans and some would not look like humans. And I would just be there working on someone or maybe being in a cranial pose. And I could just have my eyes wide open and I could see them walking around. And I would ask, am I supposed to tell this client? And for the longest time, I got a no. And the day that I got a yes was a client, and she was talking about her deceased mother. And I quickly said, may I? And they said, yes. And I said, well, if it's any consolation, your mom was here. And then she said, I felt her. And I said, now, but it's interesting. A man came in too. And I described the man to a T. And this is after she got dressed and was back in the waiting room. She took off 2 of her shirts and she said, is this the shirt? And I was like, that's the shirt he was wearing. Is that his shirt? She said, that's my father's work shirt. And I missed him so bad this morning that I put it on, but I was so embarrassed. I put 2 shirts over it. And so I never saw her undress and dress. And I didn't see it in the waiting room.
And how would you know that was her father's shirt?
Not at all. And the interesting thing was,
what?
It was such a feeling of thank you and gratitude that I could pass that message along. There was never an ounce or speck of like, oh yeah, I got it. I know I'm this, right? It was so humbling to me that when she left, the door closed and I stood with my back to the door and I just stood in silence in almost tears of just gratitude that I could share that with her, and because I was seeing so
Thankful.
many
You were
beings.
thankful that you got that. It's a
And then
feeling of
since then,
thankfulness.
I probably had about 10 out of maybe 40 massage clients that I was able to begin to give messages to, that literally started coming to me just to work in that arena. And I lived in an area where I worked, lived, and played with a lot of the people. And in Washington, some of them were very affluent people that got on my table, and I had to keep it very quiet. So then if I went out and saw them in the grocery store, I would never say, "How you doing from our session?" I would just, in passing, hi, and they'd say hi. If they'd say thank you for the session, I would just go, mm-hmm. But I would just close it, because when a session's done, they take everything away from me. It's no longer my session, I'm in session.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally am able to disconnect. It's just like even now when I do Zoom clients or I have hands-on clients and something comes through, they may say to me down the road, "Do you remember?" And I'm like, "No, they don't. That's your message. That's not for me to hang on to.
Yeah.
That's not, that's just, I was just the messenger. I don't hold on to it."
Yeah. And something I have to bring up that's kind of a theme of what I do on my show. I have like a mental catalog of every other episode and interview I've done. And you just kind of confirmed one of my previous guests, Diana Dunbar, who runs the Alliance of Experiencers. She had an experience where she was having acupuncture done, and something happened. Something came there. And when the therapist came in, the acupuncture pins, she has pictures in her back, were completely 90-degree angles. They got bent, and she had a wild experience. Now, my little theory of why all of this is going on, and you're picking up on these things when these people are in this deep, relaxed state. I'm kind of putting it all together, and I'm wondering that when people are having massage and they're kind of putting that guard down, their muscles down, that tightening and really turning off and getting loose. Do you think that like bridges some sort of connection or makes it easier for stuff to happen in those situations, since you were in that field and you were actually witnessing it yourself? What are your thoughts about that, out of curiosity?
I think we shut down the part of the guarded thinking survival, and we trust and surrender, and it opens gates and portals to other places of information within the body that it's storing. And so I see people on the table when I did massage or I was doing energy work or the guides were showing me something, I could see the body above the body. And
Oh, wow.
I could see the beauty, like the person may come in looking stressed, and then I just see the youth just be restored, the hydration just be restored back into that body, from the energetic body. And then in the end, the energetic body merging with the body, and them recognizing the difference. So even now, I'm a medical aesthetic person. So I do also do skincare and things like that too,
Okay.
in a wellness center. And so I might be what someone might come in for a regular facial. I'm doing energy work based
Wow.
on whatever. And they will literally get up and say, what just happened? I was floating. I mean, whatever you did was amazing. I don't even care what my skin looks like. I feel amazing. So we have these things that will occur, whether it's acupuncture needles, but there's something to be said for hands-on healing and energetic healing and all these different modalities of healing. I had to give up massage because, well, let's just say spirit wanted me to change some directions, and I almost got taken out in a really bad car accident that took me away from massage and into the energy work much deeper.
Mm. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you just brought up amazing point too. These people were coming to you for a massage or a facial, okay? The last thing they were expecting, they weren't coming to you because oh, I want to go see a psychic medium today, or anything of stupid titles out there. None of it makes sense, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine their reaction. And it just goes to show it doesn't matter what your job is, or where you work, or what you're doing. These interactions can happen at any time or any place. And I cannot imagine the people that went to you, and not only did they receive, a nice makeup, clean looking face, or relaxed muscles, but very powerful spiritual messages that you delivered to them. That's such a beautiful message. That's absolutely wonderful. And just to let everyone know, I heard you talking about a learning center and a few other things, but if you could, Sandra, to let everyone know, and everyone that's watching this, all of this information will be down in the description. But can you tell everyone that's watching where they can find you, how they can contact you, reach out to you, and where to do that? And some of the services you're offering, etc. And yeah, let everyone know the deal.
Sure. I have a physical brick and mortar in Rockville, Maryland, just outside of DC. And so in that office, I do medical aesthetics, but I also do advanced Reiki, hypnosis, regression work, intuitive coaching. I work with kids, their parents. I work with the energies. I can give messages when I'm given them to give, but if I'm put on the spot, they'll shut me down because they don't want my ego involved at all.
Yeah.
But and then it's embodimentofthesoul.com is my website, and you can email me directly for a Zoom. I do a lot of Zoom sessions for regression work, hypnosis, advanced Reiki. We tune in. Sometimes we even get a unique symbol that's for you at the moment. Everything is a symbol. Language is a symbol. And we learn to vibrate on chords that we're being attracted to. And then we elevate to another chord and this chord and that chord. So there's a multitude of people out here to mentor, instruct, and teach. And the difference between a teacher and an instructor, to me, and I'm more of an instructor, is I'm going to show you. It's like I can tell you how to go into a room and do your aerobics, or I can come into the room and stand in front of you and show you, and you can follow my footsteps and pick it up. So there's all different ways of assisting and helping each other. But yeah, I have a brick and mortar, and then I have the Zoom and so on. And my YouTube channel, of course, is Sandra McEllis. So I get daily messages or weekly messages and put it out for whatever that is. And, hopefully that helps to bring awareness, to invoke expansion and opening of your heart. That's the goal here. And empower you that you're enough. You can do this. Every single person watching this can do this. I'm not special. And
Yep.
You don't have to get hit on the head. And you don't have to see orbs. And you don't have to be taken UFO wise. You don't have to have those things to know that you're gifted and that everything is inside of you. And maybe you came in with a different program and you're supposed to tap into that because now you need to share that. And all those people out there that didn't think they were special realize, oh, thank you for saying that, because that's how I learn. And that's how I want to express and communicate. Wow, I do have gifts, because every freaking one of you are gifted.
Yep. And that's wonderful. And a lot of that information, I'll have the YouTube, and you can go to the website and get her contact through all of the website, correct?
Yes.
Is that?
And you can email me through the website.
Oh, perfect. So, and one last thing I want to bring up, and exactly what you just said, I don't really like to use the word gift too much.
Yeah,
because
I know.
Gift implies that you got something for being good or for being this kind of person. And what I've noticed in the community, there are people that have gifts, yet they're not giving it as a gift and making a lot of money and profits off of something that was a gift to them. I like to call them abilities. and it kind of levels it. And we just all have these abilities, and they're all different. Some of us
Yes.
don't even know we have them. And if we do, we don't know how to use them. And that's where it all comes in. And that's a beautiful, wonderful message to end it out on. All of you are special. You know, no one person is more special. Like me, you don't need a UFO crash behind your house and your mom being in a hybrid program and yada, yada, yada. None of that matters. We all have an incredible story. We all have a piece of the puzzle. And until we listen to all the pieces of the puzzle, we will never understand the bigger picture. And we all play a part in that bigger cosmic grand painting of the cosmic web of the universe. And that's what it's all about. So, Sandra, this was an episode, and I'm completely honest, I'm still thinking about what happened in the beginning. I did not expect that. I didn't, and I knew, and I normally don't have stuff come to me that much, but I just, that was wild. My head's still spinning. Everyone, please reach out to her. Go in the description. She would love to talk to you, catch up. Check out the YouTube. I've been watching a lot of her videos. They're always great, and they just uplift you. And after you get done watching them, you're like, yeah, I'm going to go do something good today. That's the overall message of it all, you know, keeping it spiritually simple, right? KISS. That's what it's all about. That's her saying. I love it. She got it in the background there. And I really appreciate, you know, having this connection and becoming friends and learning from your wisdom. I have so much to learn from you in the same sense that I have so much to learn from all my subscribers. And that's why I'm having them come on for my first contact, because I'm learning stuff every day from people that watch this, sending me their videos. I'm like, oh, I love listening, because that's how you learn. You know, you learn more from listening than you do talking. Am I right?
Oh, you are so right. And Robert, thank you for all you do and expanding people's awareness to different topics that are not really, you know, that they're just on the fringes with, and giving people opportunities and a platform to be able to express their experiences. And so thank you for that. Really, truly, from the bottom of my heart. It's a platform that's needed.
I appreciate that. And we're just getting started. All of you that are watching, Sandra and I, we're just getting started, and we still have a lot more to go on our mission. And we hope that all of you will be right there with us, and we'll be right there with you. And we can make this planet the greatest planet in the entire universe. So let's do it. Much light and love to all of you, and I hope to see you next time. This is a new era of contact. We are the disclosure. We're not waiting for it. We've already made it happen. So I'll see you all. Much love. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.
I didn't want to go public without evidence because I knew no one would believe me. The entire incident happened about 5 to 6 minutes in total. And my mom shouts really loud, "Oh my God, what is that? What is that?" At no point did the two men in black or the Air Force gentleman ask my mother or her friends what did they see. They looked human, but they did weird things. The men in black, they said, "You will report it as a helicopter crash, or we will take your son away." The men in black play the narrative, and the media outlets spew it back out. This was 1991, Project Mockingbird in full effect. everyone, check out the Order of Light merchandise store. We got a lot of different t-shirts there. The Humans Aren't Real, Lower Always Creek Incident. We got tank tops and Merkaba. We got stickers, glasses, a lot of different glasses, so get thirsty. We got bags. I live in New Jersey. We don't have bags anymore, so it's really nice. We got flip-flops, hoodies, and all the ladies out there, we got a bunch of awesome merchandise. Please join the YouTube membership for my channel. You will get exclusive badges, really awesome emojis, member-only live streams, posts, and chats and connections with me for only $5.99 a month. See you there.